Hey guys, this is Light and welcome to my Headhunt tier list for 2025. So Headhunt was recently announced and it'll be coming on the 18th of December. So if you're wondering what to pick, I got you. So yeah, let's get into it. So for must-have tier, I think these units have the most longevity. Arunka is just solid. Like her passive is pretty irreplaceable and really strong. I don't think she'll ever really leave the meta because she'll be useful no matter what. Like she's just a really solid unit. If you don't have any of these must-have units, you should definitely pick one of them. So yeah, Arunka, super solid. Not much to say. She's insane. She'll probably last a very long time. And Illinev, okay, if you're like a diehard cleave player, you don't play slow at all. Like you can skip Illinev, but no, if you're a normal player, Illinev is pretty much a must-have. Her passive will always have value unless like the warfare rule already has her passive. And she's just a really solid unit, a warrior snipe bruiser, really strong. The passive will never stop being good because of the way the game is. There's so many units that have like an insane amount of pen, and Illinev just make them unpickable. Yeah, Illinev really good. I don't see her falling off anytime soon. And then we have Celine. I know a lot of people are like, oh, but Hecate is coming, but yeah. So what? Celine is just a solid unit. Like she's super fast. She does tons of damage. And the revive is just cherry on top. Like she's the best. She's like the best aggressive damage dealer right now, like by a mile. And she's also really good for slow play too, cause like you can do really obnoxious stuff with like chaining revives and stuff. But she's just super solid. Like she'll never not be good. Cause like even if you pick like anti revive units, like she still has the option to just murder you. Like imagine you pick like Hecate against Celine, and then Celine they just pick a cleave draft, and the Celine murders you even if you pick anti-revive, right? Like Celine's just super solid, and she's always and she's good in like every content too, like good in Guild War Arena, RTA. She's good in everything. And like just like the other two, like Celine, super solid. Hecate will do nothing to her. If anything, Hecate will make the problem worse because people will just pick her with Celine, etc. So yeah, these three units, if you don't have them, you should really pick them. Except Illinev, you don't need her if like you only play speed stuff. Like it's kind of whatever. But but Arunka, you definitely need her no matter what kind of player you are, because like she'll anchor your team, she'll protect your team, really good. So yeah, my top three for sure. I debated putting Ruel up here, but I feel like Ruel is a unit that can definitely be replaced down the line. Like she's already like people are already preferring Yuha over Ruel, and sometimes they prefer both of them. So I was hesitant to put Ruel up here. I'm not sure about her longevity. Cause like she just might be like flavor of the season, right? I'm not sure, so we're just gonna put it in really good tier. But yeah, besides the must-have tier, we also have the really good tier. If you already have these three units, then maybe we're gonna look at something down here. Ruel is super solid right now. She's one of the best anti-cleave units, and if you have idols cheer on her, she kind of cheeses out her counters like Bryceria. And yeah, she's just really annoying to deal with because there's almost no way to stop her passive, and like she's just really obnoxious. Like really good in everything besides like PVE, I guess. Like she just stops you from dying, brings you back, etc. She's really strong. So yeah, really strong unit. Then we have Strays. Strays is good for like everything. Like you can cleave with him. You can like one shot hunts and stuff. Pocket pick, like big damage dealer. If you like playing on mid, you pretty much need to play. You need a Strays. If you want to one shot hunts and like you don't have Ross or something, you kind of need strays. Like he's pretty good at like everything. So yeah, and then we have MO Shu. MO Shu is mostly like a RTA and Guild War kind of unit. She'll run down like super tanky teams because of like her injury. It's just a solid unit. Although she's not as good if you don't have Sweet Miracle. Then we have Zio. If you want a Zio cleave, he's pretty much he's a whole thing in itself. Like if you don't have Zio, then you can't play like a whole like cleave archetype. Cause like he's a thing in itself. Like he has super synergy with Taeyu, like Ludwig, and all that. He's the fastest unit in the game. If you want to be really aggressive, if you want to cleave people, I would highly recommend taking Zio if you don't already have him. And yeah, and he recently got buffed, so like he's even easier to build and use. Like really strong. Then we have Bellion. But Bellion is like just a pretty solid unit. However, if you don't have 3F, which is the limited Overlord artifact, you won't really get that much out of her. Like if you don't have 3F, your Bellion is probably gonna suck, or you're gonna have to play her as like an Aureus Knight, which is really whatever. And like it's not bad. If you have 3F, I would highly recommend Bellion. But otherwise she's pretty meh. And then yeah, we have Bryceria. She's okay. She can kind of deal with like Maid Ruel, but she's not like a clear cut counter to them in RTA, but she's still a decent unit. If you have Free Ren, she has a really fun combo with like Free Ren and Commander Pavel, where like you press S3 and then Pavel procs instantly. But she's pretty nice for that. She's decent anti-revive, but she's not like the be all end all answer to them. Cause like she can be counterplayed pretty heavily. But she's still pretty good. Especially in like Arena and Guild War, definitely playable there, or much more playable than RTA anyway. Cause like you also need speed to play her in RTA. But yeah, decent unit. But just be aware, if you pick her because of RTA, she is harder to use than you would think. And then we have Hua Young. This unit gets memed a lot, but she is undeniably the best anti-debuff unit for like 1v4ing someone who goes way too hard into debuffs. If you want Hua Young because you think she's gonna kill like Arunka or like 30k HP light units, you'll be sorely disappointed. She's not that good for that. She's mostly an anti-debuff unit. Like sometimes someone will pick like a bunch of light units with low damage and she'll 1v4, but otherwise it's kind of it's kind of cope hoping that she'll beat light units for you. But yeah, she's just anti-debuff, which is very valuable because the meta is extremely debuff heavy. And then we have Maid Chloe. She has the Fallen Cecilia passive where she cuts like fixed damage, and that's really valuable against units like Renak. Fixed damage against like Peyra, MLK Ron, even like 3F Bellion, Rocket Puncher Runka. It just gives you a lot of mitigation and like takes away a lot of options that the other person might have. And of course, revive defense buff for a few turns is really nice. And she's a solid support. Although she's not as safe as something like Ruel. Cause like Maid Chloe, her weakness is just dying to like cleave, but Ruel's like a little cockroach, like she revives herself, right? Like Maid Chloe's more vulnerable to like really aggressive play, but No, she's pretty. She's overall like pretty good. Like decent for every play style. She'll anchor down like really aggressive drafts as well. So yeah, pretty decent unit. I mean, we have Emma Luna. Yeah, Emma Luna is not. She's still really good. She's still really good at quality of life for Arena and Guild War. Because some teams you can just completely disable them with Emma Luna and then you can just cleave them. But she's a bit harder to use in RTA. Like you do have to be quite fast, and there's a lot of like debuff resistant units that just don't care about her anymore. Like Ross, Hua Young. But she's still usable. It's just a lot harder to use. She can turn off units like Freerin and Celine decently well. Like if you soul burn or if you steal Celine, she doesn't have her soul burn anymore, which is nice. By the way, she's okay. She's okay. She turns off the enemy team, and like if you can win before they cleanse, it's pretty nice. But she's definitely not as high priority as she was like say a year ago. Cause like there's just a lot of things that are more resistant to her now. So yeah, but it's still a decent unit. Can still cleave people, but it's a bit harder. And we have ML5. She's good for everything. She's really she's even really good in PvE because of her forced dual attacks. And with the new Saria artifact, she is super strong in RTA again. But a disclaimer: if your ML Poly isn't extremely fast, you won't have that much fun with her. Because she's definitely a unit that is much stronger if you're taking the first turn, and if someone else speeds you, you're gonna have an issue. But she's still really strong though, like especially with the Saria artifact that makes her CR push her backline. Like you can CR push Janua to like murder or something. Like let's say someone picks like Mo Luna to counter your Mo Poly, and then you outspeed them, you push your Janua and you just kill them. No, that's pretty strong right now. But she's just really solid. And like you can use her in Guild War really easily. Like you just pair it with like Atai and Janua, you just run people down. And Poly Janua is, very standard arena offense. Guild War offense that just runs down anything that doesn't have Illinav usually. And then we have Fallen Cecilia. She has a really strong passive. Like there's so much bonus damage in this game, like additional damage. The FCC will always have like pretty decent value, especially against like Renak and everything. And like the shields are nice, the skill null is nice. She's just a decent unit all around. Especially for RTA and like Guild War against like Renak defenses. Super solid unit. We have Abyssal Yuffie, and her CR cutting passive is pretty timeless. She is super valuable against a lot of cleaves. And sometimes she can like carry you as a bruiser in like the slower games, but she's not as strong as before. A lot of bruisers caught up to her, so she's just like middle of the pack now as far as bruisers go. But she's still a decent unit whenever her passive is relevant. But yeah, still a decent unit. However, her uses are pretty limited. Besides like a more niche pick against cleavers and sometimes in like slow play. But yeah, decent unit, but there's probably a lot of better things. Then we have Conquer Lilias, although she was buffed last season to CR push her team and also defense break, which made her one of the premier cleave openers that you put on 3. However, she is much weaker if you're not taking the first turn. If you don't have crazy speed, you probably will not be using her very well. But if you do have crazy speed, she is a great option. So yeah, really strong unit, but you need to have speed. And then ML Lua. ML Lua is like the premier opener of like 2 seasons ago. I don't think she's worth putting on 3 anymore because she has a lot of counters, namely like like fast cleansers, or like Mediator Coeric, or a ROM that just completely counters her, or yeah. She's still a decent like late pick debuffer because like if you just last pick her, like she has potential to just perma provoke someone's entire team. Like that's pretty nice. But she's not as good as she used to be because there are a lot more counters to her, and she is reliant on taking first turn as well. So yeah, not as good as she used to be, but she's still decent if you want a fun unit, like a fun debuffer unit. Then we have ML Payra. ML Payra fell off quite a bit. FCC reducing her damage hurts. May Chloe reducing her damage hurts. Being weak to ML Ross hurts. Being weak to Arunka really hurts, and often you have to leave Arunka up now. Like there's just a lot of things that make her not that make her like really hard to use, unfortunately. So she did have like if this was a few months ago, I'd be putting Payra up here, but unfortunately she kind of she's not that great into what's good right now, unfortunately. But she's still a decent unit. Like she's still a pretty decent like last pick damage dealing threat that also pushes your team. But right now she's not insane. She needs to be like pickable every single game. But now she's like the occasional damage dealer last pick. Like if this was a few months ago, like she would be up here, but unfortunately things took a really bad turn for her. Still good though. And we have the usable tier. So these units, they have specific uses in like the RTA meta or like Guild War or something. And honestly, you probably don't want to pick any of these. Like you surely there's one of these you don't have. But if you have everything up here and you're debating something down here, we can go through it. So Sage Vivian, she's notably really good in Guild War against like the Arunka Renak teams because she can just like kill them in 2 turns with like her AoE and stuff. Like she does a lot of AoE damage if she's like untouched. But that's a much bigger issue in RTA. She is debuff resistant, which is really nice, but she has a whole lot of issues. Like if someone breaks her insight and she loses her double attack, she sucks. Which is why she's honestly a more inherently aggressive unit that you pick with like ML Poly to like slow burn her pushback and stuff. But yeah, she has a lot of issues. Namely, if you get hit or you're not contesting first turn, she's quite the liability. And like she's like she automatically loses to stuff like Hua Young, which is really annoying. Only thing good about her is that she is that she doesn't get debuffed, honestly, and she holds a book, I guess. But she's okay for stuff besides RTA. And very rarely she's usable in RTA, but she has some glaring weaknesses. But still a decent unit. Like some teams won't be able to handle her like anti-debuff and whatever. And like sometimes if the stars align, you can get some really sick like cleaves off with her. So decent unit. Then we have Kayron. So Kayron's biggest counters like Fallen Cecilia and what's her face made Chloe, because they just cut his 15,000 fixed damage in half. And he also kind of sucks against Ruel. But he's pretty good against like all in aggressive teams that like don't have enough damage to kill him, and then like they have low health pools. Like Like he'll be decent against stuff like Fireflan. He'll be decent against free Ren sometimes. But he's pretty hard to pick, to be honest. Like he's weak to revivers. He's weak to Maid Chloe. He's weak to Fallen Cecilia. He's weak to ML5. He's weak to a lot of things. But sometimes, you know, you get that like one in 50 games where like someone's being really aggressive and they just auto lose to like a full tank Kron that they can't kill. So super niche in RTA. In Guild War and Arena, it's a little different. Like there are builds to make Kron like 1v4 everything, which is nice. But alright, speaking for RTA, he's a little hard to use, but he's decently strong. And we have the newly buffed Aravi. She has some glaring issues. Like it's nice that Sweet Miracle is a thing now, because that solves someone for like debuff weakness, but she's really weak to Arunka. She's really weak to Celine. She's really weak to what's her face? She's really weak to Freerin as well. So like, and she's really weak to like skills. She's really weak to a lot of things. But she's sometimes okay. Like sometimes people won't pick enough damage to kill her. She has pen res now. Like she won't die to Ross. She has a pretty positive matchup against Ross. You can make her super tanky and tank strays with her. Cause you know, if you make her highest HP, the strays will target her, I guess. which is nice. Yeah, other than that, she's okay. She's usable, but she does have a lot of weaknesses. I mean, I don't know. It's it's a little hard to say. I'm not a fan of her, but she is a decently pickable unit now. Just you just had to not be fighting some of the most common units in the game, i.e. Arunka, Celine, Freerin, etc. Otherwise, she's pretty good. And then we have 8 Highwind. If you have ML Poly and you wanna you know, really good teammate with her, 8 Highwind is pretty sick. You know, he has ignore ER, defense break stun and all that. Yeah, he's pretty decent if you want to play him with ML Poly. Doesn't really do much besides that. I mean, sometimes his cleanse is pretty clutch. Like this, his passive cleanse will cleanse like Bryseria's defense break, which is nice. So he's okay. He's okay. Well, nothing crazy unless he's with ML Poly. Then we have LRK. There's a decent resurgence of LRK with like Crown of Glory, and because like, you know, Freeren's really annoying and he kind of deals with it, and like he's also kind of okay into 3F Bellion, you know, and because like people are playing Bellion quite a bit more because of Yuha. Like it's pretty strong, but you know, LRK can kind of deal with it, but he's just anti AoE basically. Like it's decent. It's just decent. It's decent. Then we have Arya. Arya. Okay. Wait, sorry. Maybe unpopular opinion, but Arya might have been like the weakest school unit to be released. She's okay as a bruiser. When she ramps up, she's kind of debuff resistant, as long as they don't have more than 200 effectiveness. She's really tanky because, you know, she's naturally 30k HP. She's HP scaling. You don't need to build crit chance on her, so you have a lot of other stats. She's a decent bruiser that does raw damage and doesn't rely on debuffs. But she kind of loses out to a lot of damage dealers. Like she's not that good into Freerin. She's not that good into Celine. She doesn't really have enough tempo to deal with like Maid Chloe and Ruel. but she's okay. I really don't recommend picking her though unless you have nothing else. But she's an okay bruiser. But it's like there's no like perfect spot for her or anything. There's no spot where like, whoa, I want to pick ML Arya here, other than like for fun, right? It's hard to say. She's kind of whatever. Then we have DJB. Honestly, DJB is pretty whatever. He's super weak against all the revivers. Honestly, I would only pick DJB if you want to do some cheesy cleaves with him. Like, he's fun for that, but otherwise he's pretty whatever. If you want to do like some cheesy 300 speed DJB cleave, it's okay, but it's really whatever. But yeah, it's not bad, but pretty. I don't know. He's only like good for RTHs, honestly. Arena, Guild War, pretty useless. Then we have Dark Corvus. So Dark Corvus is an interesting one. He'll always be good in like Guild War and Arena, but also there's gonna be the new set coming in a month that lets him instantly press his S3 at the start of the fight. That may or may not make him usable in RTA. I'm not sure, but maybe it will. Maybe it'll actually make him pretty decent, but we'll have to see about that. Like there's a possibility we move Dark Corvus up to here, but we don't know yet. But I think he's decent in Guild War and Arena, but pretty unpickable in RTA right now. But the Warfare set might change that. We don't know. And we have Dilibet. Dilibet's a very old unit that people pick against stuff like Ran and like units who do like a lot of debuffs. She's kinda she's not that good though. She's like she has a lot of counterplay because people just hold their abilities or something. She's okay. But she's okay. But she's not as good as she used to be because like the debuffers aren't that simple anymore. Like she sucks against Luna, she sucks against like people who just like hold their buttons. She sucks against ML Poly, like she's okay, but not that good anymore. And then we have ML Landy. ML Landy, she's not as good as 2 years ago, of course. She's not even as good. Like she fell off quite a bit, but she still has a use as like, you know, she can't be stunned. She can't be, you know, she can't be like she can always like do stuff, right? Like she can't be feared. And it's nice. That it's nice, but her main purpose is just buff stacking right now. She'll give your team anti-crit, and then you can stack like a protection set. So if you have like protection set, anti-crit, and then immunity, you can protect yourself for 1 turn against double strippers like light to Nibria. That's pretty much her only use right now. So yeah, so she'll always have a use, but that's about it. But she's too squishy of a damage dealer. She doesn't do enough damage anymore. Like she's just she's just a little outdated as a damage dealer. But she can cheese people with buff stacking. And then we have Sharon. Sharon's okay. She kind of comes and goes with the meta. She was okay when DDR was meta, but she wasn't like, you know, a guaranteed counter. She's okay against the new Fire Sigret, but you know, again, not a guaranteed counter. Like she's okay, but she has some glaring issues. Like her passive doesn't cleanse her enough, right? But she's okay. She's usable if you want something like that. If you have nothing else to pick, it's not bad. She is usable. Then we have Harsetti. I'll be honest, Harsetti fell off a cliff. Like she's not that threatening anymore. Like sure, she can be annoying in Arena and Guild War, but Harsetti herself has so many counters now. Like between like Green Senya, Aram, like Zeo Cleave. Like she has so many weaknesses. And like it's usually like yeah, it's usually like if you're forced to pick Harsetti, you're on the back foot, right? And like she's not even like a reliable counter to speed or anything, because like a lot of people would just like pray to turn order regardless. So yeah, she's pretty whatever. But if you have like a Guild War defense or like an arena defense you really want to build, like sure, take Harsetti, but I highly do not recommend her. She's pickable, but she doesn't feel good to pick. Then we have Mediator. He has a new EE that lets his S2 do big damage. But you know, cleansers in this day and age are pretty weak. Like he sucks against Tenebria. He can get reset. Like it's like cleansers in general are just a little weak. They just kind of die too. But if you need something like that, he's okay. But if people don't really pick cleansers anymore. People prefer to pick units that can't be debuffed. Because, you know, picking a cleanser is a little bit of a liability a lot of the time. So yeah, but if you want a cleanser though, he's okay. He's okay. He's decent in PvE as well. People always use him in Ancient Inheritance and whatnot. He's okay, but not too good. Then we have like she's sometimes okay against like, you know, teams that aren't too tanky. And like, you know, they have like a single threat that you can extinct and you win, but like Leica has some issues. She's a really old unit, right? When Leica came out, it was during like the era of Karina, and Leica wasn't able to kill Karina back then because she has 80% pen, right, instead of 100% pen. So if someone just had way too much defense, she couldn't kill them. And like if she didn't get a damage buff either, so if Leica couldn't kill 3 years ago, she can't kill a lot of modern tanks today. Like don't try to kill Arunka with this thing. Don't try to kill through don't try to kill like 30k HP units with this thing. It's very unreliable. But if you have nothing else, she's a funny extinction unit. But keep in mind that her damage potential is pretty bad. Then we have Emerald Ball. Emerald Ball is always a pretty decent unit against the cleavers, but keep in mind he's weak to 2 frenzies. He's weak to the pen frenzy, and he's also weak to the ER frenzy, because his S3 damage relies on landing sleep, and if you don't have enough effectiveness in ER frenzy, you can't land your sleep, and then your damage sucks. So he's decent, but the frenzy kind of the frenzy is really unfortunate for him. But if you need an anti-cleave, you know, he's decent. Then we have Solitaria. You know, she's always decent against focus units, not much to say. Like someone picks Flan, you can probably pick Solitaria. Someone double downs, picks Shoe and Flan, you can probably pick Solitaria. It's just a decent unit. Like she's just a staple. She's just a staple. She's usually good against focus units unless you're getting cleaved, in which case she's gonna stand there, do nothing, and die. And then we have Death Dealer Ray. He's still pretty good. He's still pretty good in like Harsetti gameplay, but he has a lot of weaknesses still. Namely units that don't get debuffed. He's okay in Harsetti gameplay, but he just doesn't offer too much anymore. And like DDR is a pretty outdated build. Got like, a lot of units just ignore ER, or they just run him down anyway with like high effectiveness. Like he's fallen off quite a bit, which is crazy because he used to be the best debuffer in the game. But yeah, that's just how it is. Like the meta just doesn't really like him anymore. but you can still be decent sometimes. Like you can be decent in Guild War Arena too, but RTA is fallen off quite a bit. And we have Lionheart. Lionheart is decent against counterattack units still. She has a positive matchup against Setsuka, but she can still lose it. But otherwise, she's still good. Like decent in Guild War, decent in Arena, especially decent in controlled environments. But our RTA, she's pretty hard to use. She has a lot of counterplay because she's a very honest unit. Decent though, decent. Then we have ML Honestly, ML pretty. He's an interesting one. Like sometimes he'll be really good, or he would just be useless. Like 90% of the time, like he'll be pretty bad. But there are rare cases where ML is a good pick. Like I mean, he'll be decent in Guild War as well, because like you can just control the aggro. But yeah, not too much use. Like if someone's playing like ML Shu, like ML like destroys ML Shu, etc. But otherwise, he doesn't do too much, honestly. You have OQC. She got a buff, but she's still pretty whatever. She's just an extinction unit that does bonus damage against dark units, but it's not that significant. Like her kill range is pretty weak, but she might be decently applicable in like Harceti games, if anything, because like the CR push passive is really strong. Like she gets a CR push every time someone's hit. Like might be okay for Harceti, because CR pushing units tend to be decent in a Harceti, but otherwise she's pretty whatever. Like very rarely will like you get someone who just dies to her, who can't control her. But yeah, she's sometimes pickable if you need a very specific kind of extinction unit, but otherwise not really. Then we have Opsig. Opsig is pretty whatever. On the off chance that they don't have like some crazy revivers and they have a shield, like Opsig can just kill people, which is nice. But she's kind of a one and done unit. Like if you don't win the game from her from like the get-go, she's kinda useless. But like it's in like a controlled like arena Guild War environment, like you can definitely use her, but in RTA pretty hard. Then we have ML Haste and Senya. These two used to be the biggest menaces like 1 or 2 years ago, but they've fallen off they've fallen off like quite a bit. Cause like they don't really do like insane amounts of damage anymore, and like they get mitigated by Illina. But they're sometimes good. Like ML Haste can still be decent. Even people are forced to hit him. And, like he can do a lot of damage. Like ML Senya, if you have 3F, like she's okay. In like some Harceti gameplay, or like she's okay for like protecting your like ML Celine or something. But otherwise, not too useful. Like they're okay, but they're not that good. And then we have these group of units. If you like playing Zio, you 100% need Teiyu. And Teiyu is his best bridge by far. And then yeah, if you have Teiyu, if you have Zio, I would highly recommend Teiyu. If you don't have them and you want to play Zio. And then kind of the same thing for Ludwig. Like Ludwig is bridgeable with Zio. Like he holds a book. He's very good for book abusing drafts. Like he's just a staple for that. Then we have ML Aura. ML Aura is really good with any like soul burn ignore ER strippers like ML Luna and ML Poly, because like she holds the book for them, and then you just drop a rock on them and then kaboom. And then ML5 is really good with with Bryceria in particular, because like you can go like free run Bryceria ML5, and then Pablo will proc instantly from like the Bryceria S3, and while their defense broken, which is really nice. Although it's not that good in RTA anymore because people like found the counters for it, but it's still a pretty fun combo. Like he's just a fun unit in general. And we have Judge Kisei. Judge Kisei is she's like an Ahmed DPS kind of unit. Like you see her push her with Ahmed and then you do big damage with her. Nothing crazy. And we have Emo Ruana is just like a general bridge. Like, you know, she'll just take a turn after your front unit and she'll reset people. Like she's a decent bridge. She holds a book, you know. But you can pick her with a lot of openers. You know, she's just a solid unit if you need something to cleave with. We have ML5. Honestly, she's only good with Zio. Cause like you Zio S3, you strip, you push the Flan. And like, you know, Flan pushes your team. And like, yeah, that's about it. And then you bomb them. It's pretty whatever though, cause like she has a lot of weaknesses, and she's useless against like the anti debuff units. But she's a thing. She's a thing. She's a very rare pick, but she's okay. But I don't know. I don't really recommend it though. I would pick any of these other cleave units first. And then I don't really want to talk about these. Like these units down here, they're just outdated. They're just outdated and they don't really have any purpose right now. But maybe they'll get buffed though. Although okay wait, I mean, if anything, we can say Archdemon is like an okay debuffer to seal people, but like it's very rare that she actually has like any actual seal target. And she can just also just die. Like I'm not a fan. I don't think she has much use at all. I think she'll just die before she does anything useful usually, but sometimes she's okay as a debuffer, sometimes she can get out of hand, but like whatever. Well, like these units are just they're just kind of bums. They don't really do anything special. Not in RTA anyway. Like Guild War Arena, maybe you can like meme around with Rylet. Maybe you can like, you know, kill people with RB, like triple torrent meme RB. But like, it's very rare. Yeah, I don't know. These games, they just don't really serve a purpose besides like as memes. I don't know. I'm not a fan of them, but yeah. That's about it for the guide. I hope that was helpful. Well, that did take quite a long time, but I hope that was helpful. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.